Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Welcome to Zurich. We are honored to bring our Tech4Trust startup for the second stop in Zurich. Tonight, in this roadshow, we will talk about protecting public sector, also cyberspace and protecting financial services cyberspace with our high-level panelists. You will discover 20 startups from the Tech4Trust program with third round of startupper. And at the end of each round, you will be able to vote for the best pitch. At the end of the event, we are waiting for you for the digital networking in the two breaking rooms focused on our two topics, protecting public sector cyberspace and protecting financial services cyberspace. You will be able to turn on your mic and camera and talk with our panelists and startup. Before handing over to them and introducing you to the Trust Valley and Tech4Trust program, I would like to thank our partner, PwC Switzerland, and especially Jan Bourboin and Urs Kuderli. And I'm very pleased to give you the floor, Jan and Urs. Thank you very much.
Jan, you're mute.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Yannick, for your welcome message. Yeah, from the PwC side, welcome to our event, jointly organized with Trust Valley. Urs, Vincent, Fabian, and I are very happy to welcome you for our event. Today, we will be focusing on innovation and the role of startup in the Swiss cybersecurity ecosystem. I'm Jan Bourboin, partner at PwC, responsible for cybersecurity in Romandy, and I'm part since the beginning of the advisory board of Tech4Trust. So we are very happy and honored to be part again this year of this important initiative. We support the Tech4Trust incubator by connecting the startups and our clients, and as well to sponsor the PwC SecTech Awards to the 3 best startups that will be voted at the end of this program. Those prizes consist of consulting work provided by our specialists who helped in the past many startups from their creation until their listing on the stock exchange in the US or in the Switzerland. And Urs, can you introduce yourself maybe shortly?
Sure, thank you, Jan, and good afternoon also from my side. My name is Urs Köderli. I'm the leading partner for cybersecurity and privacy here in Switzerland, and it's really great to see, as you said, the innovation power of our startups here, and it's for me a pleasure to be part of this event. So thank you again, and I see you in the panel discussion number 1.
Thanks, Urs. Bruno, can you show the slides? Yes, thank you very much. Maybe to set the scene and also introduce the agenda of today and the panels, maybe some charts and figures. As you all know, cybersecurity is on top of mind everywhere, anytime. We saw that every day in the news, etc. 2021 was again a record-breaking year in terms of cyber attacks, but also malware, criminal cyber activity globally. Yeah, today's cybersecurity challenges are unlike any we have experienced before, I must say. If we look in 2022, the growing concern of cyber threats by CEO and Chief Information Security Officer was highlighted by our latest PwC CEO survey that we launched 2 weeks ago. So in our 25th edition, it was quite interesting to see that 50% of 40,000 CEOs across, across 89 countries, say they were very concerned or extremely concerned by cyber risk. And as you see, it's the #1 threat seen as negatively impacted impacting their companies for the next 12 months. So, and of course, no exception regarding the Swiss result. Cyber threats are seen as the #1 concern for Swiss CEOs. And this is, I must say, also quite amazing how it's really important and really #1. I think never seen that in a survey. So, but on the next slides, you see that at the same time, we also look at the figures in our global digital trust survey, and CEOs see themselves as more engaged and overestimate their level of support to the CISO organization. Only 14% of Swiss security officers think that CEOs give them significant support, but 31% of CEOs believe they create a cyber proficient culture. So the empowerment of the CISO organization is still not, despite the result of the CEO survey, on an ideal level, I would say. So if you go on the next slide, maybe also some figures regarding the 2022 threat outlook. So where executives see the surge in cyber attacks, and by consequence, where they will invest to protect their companies. So in our Digital Trust Insight survey, we can conclude, if we look at that ransomware, email compromise, and attack on cloud services are the key priorities in 2022. This is also certainly interesting for the startupper to be considering for their development and how they can help companies. Finally, what are the key actions companies have performed when integrated a third party or, for example, a startup in their ecosystem? So in the graph on the right, yes, not even half of the companies have done a proper due diligence or performed an audit of the security posture of the third parties. But we see that for Swiss companies, it's a bit better than globally, certainly due to the different Swiss regulations and in particular the FINMA regulation. Those elements can also be taken by our startuppers as point of attention when starting discussion with their potential clients. Furthermore, there seems to be a big blind spot to risk from third parties and the supply chain. Some 25% have little to no understanding of those risks. So today, we have organized 2 different panels with experts and specialists in the FS and public sector who will discuss the challenges they are facing. Yeah, you can go on the next slide as well. Yes, thank you. Yeah, here it's also a link to the 2 survey that I was explaining. Certainly also interesting figures and interesting reading that you can share, and also take some numbers and insights for your discussions with your clients or your management. And also in the panel, we will discuss how they can cope with the threats, how they are using innovation in their companies, what good and bad practices they have learned by working with startups. And to complement the experts in each panel, we will have a successful alumni of the Tech4Trust who will share their experience in working with companies and how they convince them to work together. The 2 panels will be moderated by Urs, leader in cybersecurity, and Fabian, director, who will also animate this panel. And also, as said by Lenning, before and between the panels, we have organized 3 rounds of interviews with the representative of the different startups. We'll have 2 minutes to respond to questions around what is market potential of the solution, what is the innovation of the solution, and how the solution is scalable. I will be also helped by Vincent Colana, who is director in our cyber practice, who will also help me in the different rounds. So now back to Lenning.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Jan. It's It's a big pleasure to have you with us today. And right now I will present to you the Trust Valley and what we are going here with the Tech4Trust. So here you can see the Trust Valley. So this is Swiss Romand initiative, regional strength of the Western Switzerland, but we are working with also all the part of Switzerland and with international level. And we are very happy to have this program, the Tech4Trust. It's our first big program, and this is the third season this year, and today it was a huge day also for us because we launched a new program, but not for startups but for SMEs, and we will work in the same way that with the Tech4Trust, and we hope to be one day in the third season too. So what is the Tech4Trust? Is really a program dedicated to startups in the area of cybersecurity, of digital trust. We have some RoadShow, some peer-to-peer special events, 10 workshops to boost selected startups with marketing, all related to negotiation, complex negotiation, and all related to US, Swiss grants, and IP fundraising, and for sure with some awards. So we are very happy to have PwC who afford to us a huge support and help our startups to go to the next level with their advice. So an overview of what we are in the program at this time. We are in Zurich, and next week we will be in Geneva, and after in Nordics, in Wallis, and in March also in Yverdon and in US, in the Silicon Valley. So all the startups benefit from coaching session, mentoring, matching program, and also some workshop. We will end the program at the end of March, but after that, we have a huge community of alumni right now. At the end of March, we will have nearly 65 alumni. Here, our partners come from different sides of Switzerland. Also, we have this year, so for this cohort that you will see, 30 selected Tech4Trust startup, and we will present today 20 of them selected by PwC on the Tech4Trust team. So next week we will be with the GCSP, Geneva Center for Security Policy, in the Maison de la Paix, so the House of Peace in Geneva, and we will speak about metaverse, fake news, infodemy with WHO, and so much other UN organization. So yes, just a point about Silicon Valley. It will be a huge event before the end of the event, and we are very happy to be here. So right now, I introduce the first round, and I give the floor to the PwC team to go in this first round. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Danique. Perfect. So let's start with the first round. As said by Lenny, will be a vote at the end, and each startup gets one question and 2 minutes. So I will try to keep the time. So let's start with the first one, with Andrei, with Binare. Yes, hi, Andrei.
Yes, hello.
Okay,
nice
perfect.
To be here.
Okay, so technique seems to work, so you are on mute, so let's start. So what is your solution and what is innovative about it?
Yes, thank you for the question. So Binare develops a patent-pending platform solution for cybersecurity analysis of vulnerabilities, exploits in IoT firmware and software. So our visionary technology is highly innovative. It is a spin-off from deep tech research lab work It provides an attacker view on the IoT device and its firmware before the attackers actually do this. So you can think of it as a pen testing. It analyzes the binary of IoT firmware even before it reaches the device. Therefore, it requires quite innovative techniques to look into the binary. It requires also no source code. Hence, it minimizes any IP risk to the partners or organization using our technology. And it provides visibility, what is very important, visibility into SBOM, or software bill of materials, which is at the cornerstone of third-party supply chain visibility and attacks. Think about recent Log4j, Samba, UPnP exploits on these devices. Do you know which of these devices are affected? Maybe no, but we know and we can help with our technology. So our innovation helps IoT devices and firmware be certification ready. Think about TTSI 303645, UL 2900, and so on. And our technology combines flexible architecture and implementation, so it can be run as a software as a service and on-premise, and is enterprise grade ready. Our direct competitors were acquired by Microsoft and JFrog. This shows how hot, needed, and challenging such technology space is because big companies acquire technology, innovative technology in the space. Our platform can show an alert if and how an IoT device is vulnerable or will fail certification without seeing the device or its source code, and can give crucial visibility into potential attack surface. We are Binary, and we automate IoT cybersecurity. Thank you.
Wow, perfect on time. So next startup, Condensation Data System. Hi, Alex.
Yes.
So maybe my question regarding this around scalability. So define the year 1 and 5-year impact that you are trying to accomplish with your company.
Yes, before to jump in the future, maybe let me just remind what happened today. So today we have a generic data distribution technology, which is mature, and we have demonstrated it with a few use cases, the first ones. So just to give you some concrete example, we have an end-to-end encrypted messenger that is similar to WhatsApp. We built an e-voting solution with some trust guarantees. You could scan your vote and verify that it's counted. And we also have a use case for a distributed IoT system, which massively aggregates data. It could scale without limit, scale horizontally. And so we have this generic technology, and it seems that we figure out the disruptive way to build applications, and that could benefit to many developers. And basically, that's why we want to open source it and to go with this way of open sourcing in the next years. And so this was not obvious at the beginning because I discussed about this idea during my first year of studies at the UPFL. And now all of this was done during our free time. And all of this is aggregated in our minds. We are just two working on the project with some contributors. And so now we are preparing this open sourcing phase, basically by building more documentation and more material to put things in the context and explain really how it works. So to answer to your question, in the first year, the goal would be to have something like a minimum viable community. Which also means that we would like to have some companies who believe in the project and want to contribute to the technology. Also, maybe a key indicator would be that anyone that comes in our platform could take it in himself with the technology and build a solution with it by himself. In the 5 years, then we hope that many people will build solutions with condensation, and we target to have the business model well in place. And as this is long future at this moment, we would like to have something like an infrastructure configurator and to target to further develop the sales.
Thank you very much, Alex. I see it's a call for participants to your network. So now third one, global data excellence. Walid, welcome. What is your competitive advantage relative to existing and similar technology?
Yes, DENS Nexus is the name of the system. It is, first of all, Swiss national, and it is multilingual and the only AI dedicated for corporate governance and business management. It's not greedy, and it doesn't require, actually it's very economical, so that it doesn't require data integration. So no data integration is required, which is actually in general 80% of the cost of a digital transformation. It is intelligent and is able to understand all the languages of the machines and of the databases and of the humans, so that it can harmonize the whole data systems in semantically. It is actually trustable because it respects the ownership and confidentiality of the data by integrating completely the GDPR as part of its knowledge database, and everything is coded semantically with the customer verbatim. It is actually disciplined, and it is under the security, internal security of the firewall of the company, and doesn't require to move the data from its source. And of course, at the end, it is actually very focused on maximizing the revenue of the enterprise by at least 20% and optimizing the cost actually by at least 30%, while actually anticipating the impact to enable decision making on time.
Thank you very much, Walid. Maybe now switch to Paul-Olivier, Estia.ai. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what problem and customer pain points are you trying to solve with regard to trust in society?
So Estia.ai is focused on digital transparency for trust recovery in the personal data economy. So we see this whole situation with trust and personal data as a two-sided problem between individuals and companies, and we see the interface as a very difficult area to work in that is completely underexplored. On the company side, it's a very complex ecosystem with a moving regulatory context, lots of challenges around data compliance and governance, a lack of clean software and infrastructure solution. You're never quite sure what you're using and what are the consequences. Generally, a problematic ecosystem around the use of personal data, and all this leads to a massive amount of consumer distrust. On the individual side, we see that there's a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding of the impacts of the data economy, a lack of awareness of data rights, and a lack of tools to control their own data and assert their rights. So what we do is we sit at this interface and we make sense of data flows on both sides. So for the individuals, but also for companies. And we mediate this action of making sense through technology. Our pedagogy extends also to tooling for managing your own data and for understanding all the data flows around your own data. So we deploy this pedagogy through different means, online, through coaching and workshops. And this contributes to improving mutual understanding on both sides, from consumers and from companies, with a view towards a common viewpoint between the two sides that can bring competitive advantages with respect to the rest of the ecosystem. So essentially what we're doing is through pedagogy and tooling, more trust towards more value producing data exchanges.
Wonderful. Thanks, Paul-Olivier. Now, Simon from jittering.
Hi.
Yes, perfect. How would you describe your potential market, and what is the addressable market size for your company?
Yeah, a very good question. So
thank you.
Jittering Archivist provides a solution for shared enterprise data and assets. So it's effectively a software solution that lets you track and prove where data has come from, who has touched data, and it keeps an immutable record of what has happened to the data. So whenever data is moving between companies or assets are moving between companies, it'll let you record that, track it, and be able to prove exactly how trustworthy and who has touched that data. So it's really a solution that can be applied to a lot of different use cases. We provide an application, we provide an API, and we're using some blockchain technology underneath. So it really could apply to almost any market where data or assets are being shared. And in fact, we've seen it being used already in very diverse use cases for tracking nuclear waste and what happens to nuclear waste as it passes from company to company, and to prove what's been done with it. And at the same time, it's being used to track and record software bill of materials that all enterprises, especially in the US, now need to be able to prove the provenance of the software. So it's really an enormous market. Provenance, governance, immutability for shared data pretty much applies to anybody.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Excellent. Now we have Jean-Michel from Moabi. Yes.
Hello, everybody.
So what traction and marketing validation have you made so far?
Yeah.
With your clients, potential
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to share our experience and expectation. Moabi is focused on the product security, software, binaries, or operating system. From one side, the number of software is dramatically increasing in all the domains: energy, healthcare, mobility, banks. But the end users are blind. They don't get the source code, and they don't get any metrics to evaluate what is exactly the security posture. On the other hand, we are facing a strong shortage in terms of cyber skills and experiences. For example, just in France, we are lacking 100,000 jobs only in France in this area. The unique way is the automation of the diagnostic of the security posture. And I think it's very well in line with your presentation, Jan, a few minutes ago, okay? And Moabi is proposing a SaaS solution to develop this diagnostic. And for the marketing point, in fact, we have some ways. The first way is to develop the visibility, and we are participating in some events. For example, the Assises de la Sécurité in Monaco. We won the award of innovation 2 years ago. We are participating in some events in France, but also we are trying to participate in some events in Swiss and also in Germany. The second axis is, in terms of marketing, is to demonstrate the value. We are not saying technology, we are saying value. And the proof of value is key for the customer and to identify what is the added value in this organization. It's not only the value for us, it's a value for the end user. The third axis is a trust. We are working on the security, and for the CEO, it's key. And we have to develop the trust with the technical teams, but also with the decision maker, because we have a huge impact in the process. Because for us, the security is not tools, the security is process. And we have to develop the trust with the decision maker. And we develop a customer journey with 3 phases. First of all, a test phase during 1 week.
Please don't explain the 3 different phases, because I think you are already over. But okay, I think that you can explain to the participants to this event the 3 phases during the breakout session, maybe. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I need to be the timekeeper here. Okay. Thanks very much, Jean-Michel. So last one, and then after we'll switch to the vote. privacyone. Steve, what are your here? Yes, yes. You're connected. Yes, perfect. Okay. What are your biggest risks as a company right now, and how are you planning to mitigate them?
Thank you, Jan. Yes, we don't suffer from a lot of the risks that affect other startups. Our market timing, our market fit with the Swiss privacy regulations and GDPR being implemented is good for us. We have a mature product. We're not developing the product. It's mature. It uses zero trust cybersecurity combined with privacy awareness. So it's highly innovative, and it's actually being used in our customer base. We have good differentiation. We have an active software solution that helps people actually control operationally what happens to the data and prevent data breaches and provide the companies with confidence in compliance and be able to demonstrate trust and transparency to their customers. In short, we help people actually improve data privacy and data protection in practice, in operations, rather than just document it like most of the other solutions in this market. Our risks are in market visibility and lead generation efficiency. We struggle to punch above our weight. Our customers are generally large organizations. So being able to run content-led campaigns, be able to drive lead generation, be able to attend the events that we want to attend, need resources, and a lot of that we're doing at the moment manually. Hence why we engage with the Tech4Trust program. It gives us great visibility, but we also focus in what I call smell what sells. We focus in on what are the biggest challenges, where are we getting traction, and trying to drive that to bring us to a successful outcome. So, in short, we want to drive better visibility, better traction in the market. At the moment, we're doing a lot of organic growth and doing a lot of things manually. And so we'd like to drive some visibility to get some capital investment and help us really ramp up the business so that we can be as disruptive as I believe we can be with the Zero Trust technology, bringing that privacy capability that we have.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So end of the first round. So back to Lenik for the vote.
Okay, thank you very much, Jan, for the punchy first round. So for the first round, what is your favorite speech? So you can choose between the 7 startups that you heard. So Binary, Condensation Data System, Global Data Excellence, Estia.ai, jittering, Moabi, and privacyone. You have just to vote. And Bruno, could you say to me when it's over? It's done. And thank you to play the game with us. It's very important for our startup to know which kind of pitch is the best one. Are you okay with that? It's done.
Maybe a few seconds again.
Yeah.
We have 52% of people who vote, so.
Okay. Maybe during the vote, I just introduce the next panel because we are a little bit late. So just a few words about the next panel. It will be a deep dive in protecting public sector and cyberspace. I'm very honored to present to you Urs Kuderli, partner, cybersecurity and privacy at PwC Switzerland. He will be our moderator for this session, and I'm very pleased to welcome also Giorgio Tresoldi, is head of internal relation at Cyber Defense Campus. So Cyber Defense Campus is a huge partner for the Trust Valley. We work with them since a long time, and I'm so pleased to introduce Sandro Nafger from Bug Bounty Switzerland. He is a co-founder of this startup and the CIO, and I'm very happy because he is a Tech4Trust alumni, and he was in the second session of Tech4Trust cohort last year. So we have done with the vote, please, Bruno.
Yes, so you should be able to see the result.
Okay, I let you comment.
Yes, so the winner is June C with the majority, and the second with privacyone. So thank you very much, and let's go to the panel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's go to the panel, and Urs, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Great. Welcome again from my side, and as you have nicely introduced, welcome with me, a warm welcome to Giorgio Tresoldi and Sandro Nafger. But not to lose too much time, jump directly into the discussion. Giorgio, you are the head of international relations at the Cyber Defense Campus of the Federal Office of Defense Procurement, Arma Swiss. Well, that sounds great, but for us in the session who are not too familiar with the federal departments and its structure, can you give us a bit more background on what that exactly means? What is the Cyber Defense Campus? What is your role in that campus? Yes.
Yes. Hello. Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Perfectly.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So the Cyber Defense Campus is basically the interface between the Swiss Department of Defense and academia, so ETH Zurich, EPFL, but also all international and national high schools, and also companies, most importantly, startups in the area of cybersecurity, and other actors such as the Tech4Trust, accelerators, and others. So my role at the Cyber Defense Campus is to look for interesting startups that might help in a way the Department of Defense, the cyber defense, to protect Switzerland from cyber risks and advance the cyber defense in Switzerland.
Thanks a lot. Makes sense. But in your title is also that you're leading scouting efforts. That's probably what you just explained. So tell us a bit, what are the most actual problems you're looking for? What is most interest? Which type of solutions? What solutions basically? If you can give us 2 or 3 examples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we are interested in. We're mostly looking for disruptive technology, deep tech, because I think for I would say standard security problems or standard issues, there are a lot of vendors out there that aggressively try to approach every company basically, and we are looking a bit after the hidden gems that might help us in some specific sectors. Unfortunately, I cannot go too much into detail of what our challenges are, but let's say we're interested in almost everything that is disruptive and has an impact in cyber defense. And I think, well, I've already seen a couple of interesting companies pitching here today.
So you're already hunting. Sounds great. So then perhaps Sandro, we heard you came from a startup and a member of the Swiss Startup Acceleration Program, now to a leading expert for bug bounty programs and crowdsourced cybersecurity in Switzerland, and basically within short time, no? So you had various prominent appearances, Swiss government, the post, e-voting, and a lot more on television. And I read your vision as well, which is, in my opinion, a very ambitious one, no? Aiming to set a new cybersecurity standard in Switzerland. So what is your secret to success?
So hi, everybody. I would say it starts exactly with that. So really to have a big vision, to be ambitious, and then really make a conscious decision that you want to be successful and that you also put in the work that's necessary for it. I think it starts all with that. And then you cannot be shy about it. You really need to go out. You need to expose yourself. I recommend to build your brand from the very first minute and just put yourself out there, try to catch those opportunities that are out there and learn how the market reacts, try to make your clients as happy as possible. So don't be shy about it. Go out, do it, take the initiative. And when you have a big goal that's much bigger than you, it comes all down to teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's really, really, really true in personal life and also in business. You need to surround yourself with people that share the same vision, that have the same mindset, that get along really well, that vibe well. And so I would say your company mindset, your company culture is really the most valuable asset, especially for a startup, and you really need to protect it while you're growing.
And what do you think, how much it helped you to be part of the Swiss Startup Acceleration Program? Was that helpful for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, like it's exactly opportunities like that. You need to go out and expose yourself. And you never really know what's going to happen. You know, maybe you get an opportunity to speak somewhere or to do a presentation or talk with somebody, and it might seem silly, but just go out, do it, because you need to practice yourself. You need to find out what the market really wants, and you never know who's listening. And so one step leads to the other one. That's really my recommendation.
Great, thanks a lot. Now, I mean, just curious, now we've seen bug bounty programs in the world, I would say since 2000, a long time ago, I would say. But I mean, Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Microsoft, they showed the value, or how to do bug bounty programs. But in Switzerland, it took extremely long. Now, I mean, we've seen basically now the last, I would say, 1 or 2 years, bug bounty programs to arise. So what's the reason, in your opinion, for that? We just had to wait for you, or what's the reason?
Yeah, it really looks like that. Huh? And no, you know, I think it's really rooted in the Swiss culture. We live in a country where almost everything is perfect, and mistakes are actually a bad thing. So the idea to proactively go and look for bugs and vulnerabilities seem to be like a stupid idea at first. Because you really need to understand that actually every mistake, every flaw, every vulnerability is a huge opportunity to improve, to learn, to get better. But that's just not something that we are taught in school in Switzerland. So I would say Swiss companies often lack a constructive, transparent learning culture. And then it also seems a little bit dangerous, you know, working with ethical hackers. At first sight, that could be scary. And as we all know, Swiss culture is not the most risk friendly. And then also it's all about collaborating. And that's, again, not something that we learned in school. You're supposed to do your homework alone. And, you know, so a bug bounty program is everything else than that. And you're right, when we started with Bug Bounty Switzerland, we had to do 1 year of like education, really convincing people and explaining what is Bug Bounty, how does it work, and why does actually every Swiss organization need such a program.
And just to finish that interesting hints, is it different then if you go for the public sector, for the government, than as, let's say, for a bank or for an industry client?
Well, when you do a normal bug bounty program, not really. A normal bug bounty program is a private program that works the same way if you do it for a bank or for the public sector. But what's special about the public sector is that there are services and products exactly in this interesting time that we are in that are from public interest. So when you do a bug bounty program, that's not just about improving your cybersecurity, but also somehow about the public building trust and making their mind up that it's actually a good idea what you're doing and they can trust in you. So those called public scrutiny initiatives in order to build digital trust is definitely the Champions League of bug bounty programs that we nowadays only see like in governmental or public sector areas.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Now, Giorgio, I mean, you're kind of helping obviously the startups, so they, instead of they need to chase you, you chase them. But you also explained, I mean, your mission is to transfer these new researches or technologies into prototypes of the Swiss Army Forces, but you also work with partners there. And what does that mean? What is the model exactly, or what does that mean for the startups? What is necessary and how to be with you or being hunted from you?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So I think, well, the process basically works in a continuous way, in the sense that we gather what the requirements are, the most pressing issues within the Department of Defense, and based on that we go out and look for startups. But we also just look for startups, and we might find a startup before we find the problem. So that's not, it can go either way. And then usually what's most interesting for us is that we are very technical. So all the people that work at the cyber defense campus have a technical background, and so we're really interested. We're not really interested in knowing that cybersecurity is important, because we know this already. We know what the usual concepts or the most important concepts are. So we're really interested in knowing the details, knowing what makes you apart from your competitors. What is your technological edge? So that's really the thing that I would that I am looking forward when I talk with a startup. And here, kind of trying to answer to partly to one of the questions that was asked in the chat, where we are looking for disruptive technology because the well-established technology, this we already know about, and the people that are in the procurement know about this technology, and so we are looking for things that are yet that are still a bit to be discovered. And then what we do with the companies or with the startup, if we identify something, a technology that is relevant for us, we usually do a proof of concept. This means the startup gets a small contract to build a prototype and to show, to really show the value, because we obviously we don't want to see just PowerPoints or demos where everything goes as it's planned, but we really want to be able to test, see for ourselves how does it work, does it really generate the added value that is promised, and then this might lead to other to future developments, but the cyber defense campus sort of stops at the proof of concept level, because this is our mandate within the framework of the government.
Yeah, I think that makes probably for the one or the other startup life a bit easier if it's just about the technology and cybersecurity, not so much about money and management and pitches. Sandra, I assume this is different for you, or was different, or still is. We heard from Jan about the cyber profession culture. Now, what does it need really to convince a board, to convince probably someone very untechnical to go for a startup and something new, bug bounty program they probably never heard about? So any tips for the participants?
Well, in my opinion, it was never a problem for us to be a startup. I think if you are able to deliver proof and some trust factors, that's all they want to see. And then also really, really important, in my opinion, is be very conscious who do you talk to. Never try to sell the unsellable. Look for like-minded people that are forward-thinking, that really get what you're doing. Especially as a startup, you have no time to convince people. You really need to find people that are a match. I said it before, like the team, but you can also look at your partners, your advisors, your mentors, your clients. That's also an extended version of a team. So really try to build some kind of ecosystem with like-minded people where you can bring value and that get what you're actually doing.
Thanks, great. So to close it a little bit, I think we had heard some great insights, but Sandro, I mean, are you still a startup? When does that change, or are you in 5 years then no longer a startup? What will be your organization in 5 years now?
If I just knew. No, the fact is we think big and we have like really, really high ambitions. Right now we grow really fast. We're really happy with the progress that we're making. Nevertheless, I think when it comes to mindset, culture, the way we work, we will probably always be a startup. At the end of the day, we want to have fun. We want to build great stuff, bring real value to everybody that's involved. And for this, we need to stay curious. We need to stay agile. We need to keep on thinking forward and also take risks once opportunities show up. So I think that's who we are, and that's what we really try to stay.
So similar question then to Giorgio. Now, in 5 years, where are we with startups in Switzerland from your perspective? What are your wishes? You know, what do we need in Switzerland from the startup perspective? Yeah, now in 5 years, so future.
Yes, that's a very good question. So I think something that we see as a difference from between the Swiss ecosystem and the US, for example, is the difference or the lack in venture capital money. Swiss people like to build companies slow. I have the feeling, rather than being run or rather than getting a lot of VC investment. Well, there are some funds made by previous founders of Swiss companies that start investing, and I think this is a very good trend, and I think this will probably help accelerate in a sense the Swiss ecosystem. And then I think that the initiatives such as Tech4Trust really are really what we need in Switzerland to to bring together investors, end users, or potential customers and companies to work together and advance the technology and the products in cybersecurity. So I think we're on a good track, but maybe we need to lose a little bit also of this risk. We have to be more eager to take risks, and but I think all these things are now happening, and sort of the ball has started rolling, and we'll see what happens.
Great, that sounds like a good closing note. So hope we made you participants curious also to join us then in the later session, in the networking session, and have many additional questions to Sandro and Giorgio. From my side, thank you very much for that discussion, very, very lively, and thank you for that. And with that, back to Lenin.
Thank you so much, Urs, Giorgio, and Sandro, for your testimony. So right now, go straight in the round 2 with 7 startups. I'm pleased to welcome Vincent Colonna, Director, Cybersecurity and Privacy at PwC Switzerland, and go to this round 2. So Vincent.
Yeah, thank you, Leni. I'm pleased to facilitate that second round of startup presentation. Again, we'll hear about 7 startups. The same rules as in the first round apply. 1 question for each of the startups and 2 minutes maximum to answer the question. The audience at the end of the round, again, you'll vote for the best pitch, so stay tuned and listen carefully. Great. Now I would like to start with the first startup, ProDaft, and welcome Can. Dear Can, I'd like to ask you a question about your team and to understand who are the founders of ProDaft, as well as the key team members, and understand how you plan to grow the team in the short term.
Thank you, Vincent. We are 3 co-founders in the company. First, I want to start by introducing myself. I'm John. I have an academical background in computer science and engineering. I had my master's degree, then started PhD in RPI in Albany. I published many academical papers and journals related to computer security and privacy. In addition, I took part in a global cybersecurity competition in 2011. Organized by the United States Department of Defense Cybercrime Center. More than 1,000 teams from 52 countries attended. I won the competition with the Grand Champion title. I got the Outstanding Young Persons Award from JCI in the Science and Technology track. And last year, I was selected as one of the Switzerland's digital shapers in the cybersecurity category. The other 2 co-founders, Mehmet and Koryak, they also have similar awards in their respective fields. We are a team of 55 now, all technical personnel, and everyone has some kind of specialty in their own area. About the improvements, so people realize that cyber threat intelligence is not for the IT department only. Now it's a requirement for all divisions within the company. We continuously add new capabilities to our platform by listening our clients' needs, because cyber threats are changing rapidly, as already mentioned at the start of this event. So we need to adapt to this change. We constantly focus on improving our technologies to prevent the cyber attacks at the very early stage, so before the breaches. So it's really crucial for our business. We always need to be one step ahead of the bad guys. We developed one of the first threat intelligence platforms on the market today, and we are operating it with zero client loss. Currently, we serve more than 150 clients. And over these years, every breach we prevented somehow contributed to our know-how internally to improve these technologies. And over the last years, we have shown our capabilities by releasing numerous reports about the most destructive cybercrime groups. They are publicly available on our site to read, and I can assure you, you will hear more about us this year. Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks a lot. Looks promising. Yeah, now I have the pleasure to welcome Stepan from QR Crypto. Dear Stepan, maybe you can explain your marketing strategy, and also how do you plan to reach your target market for the next 6 months? If you are there and not on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I'm Stepan Kovac, I'm the CEO of QR Crypto SA in the EPFL Trust Valley. And we are part of the ITK Swiss group in Zurich. We also now extended our activities to the EU as of late in Luxembourg. And also have some presence internationally in the US and in South Africa, as well as in Asia, notably India and Malaysia, through our representatives. So without further ado, I will say what we are doing and answer your question about the marketing aspect. So we are focused on quantum-resistant cryptography, which is cryptography made to resist now and tomorrow, once large-scale quantum computers will hit the market, and make each and every current cryptography standard basically irrelevant, except for a few ones which are made to be quantum safe. And we happen to have set the one and only good practice in the ITUT for quantum safe 5G in the text called X.1811, and that's a core part of our marketing strategy. And we managed to obtain this recognition at the UN ITUT level, so international highest level, last year, in April concretely, and with the publication for the greater public of the text in August. It usually takes 1 year from the publication of a standard at the ITUT level, or whatever other international body of that sort, for it to be largely deployed, of course, when it is the case. But here, speaking of quantum safe 5G, we are speaking of the highest level of security in 5G. And as we all know, 5G is a topic where security has been highly contentious. And we happen to be the solution provider here. China Mobile, I will speak a bit of a competition, where the competitors in the setting of the standard with the Zoop 256. But Ericsson has demonstrated that their solution is not safe, not quantum safe, nor safe now. They still try to push it through Etsy and some other means, because they infiltrated Etsy very much with many Huawei members, and more Huawei members than any other in the organization, which is very interesting, because we are right now discussing the RED standardization at the European level. Tomorrow, the next round of discussions will resume. And to be very transparent with you, we are organizing the European resistance against Huawei infiltration. By the way, I would like that we have some more time to discuss another aspect of our activities, which is about secure video conferencing solutions, because I believe we could have very positive collaboration on that end as well, as we happen to have developed on the side, as we were promoting our products in India, a secure alternative to Zoom, which is hosted in India for the world, and doesn't share any data with third parties, and is highly privacy respecting with respect to whether Zoom, Teams, or any other similar solution. But that's not the main point of my presentation. Coming back to the main one, so QR Crypto, the main markets for it are the US, India, as well as for specific verticals, Europe, Africa and the rest of the developing world, especially mobile money and similar systems, such as we have here as well, as a matter of fact, since the pandemic twint, which is unfortunately very insecure right now, but which we make secure with our technology. To get to the market, we have several different strategies depending.
You know the rule. Each 2 minutes for each of the.
Okay, let me just finish for 10 seconds. So depending on the market, we have various ways to access it, but generally speaking, cyber insurance and insurance in general is a very important leverage because Lloyd's stopped covering for state-sponsored attacks. So now everyone is on their own, and we have the solution to secure them. That sums it up. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yeah, now I would like to welcome François from Real Time. François, I have a forward-looking question for you. How do you see your organization in the next 5 years, and what do you need to reach that target?
Thank you, Vincent, for the question. Before we start in looking in 5 years' time, I think we need to look where we are today. So the recent crisis forced us basically to accelerate the transformation of the way we work. But currently, 91% of employees are still compromising security for business continuity, which basically puts in the forefront the conversations being still flowing through social media apps like WhatsApp. And those technology and applications are basically creating compliance risk when they use for work, and can cause financial implication fines. Like JP Morgan was fined $200 million for letting bankers using WhatsApp with their high-value clients. So what Real Time is doing, we are focusing on securing any organization workflows, starting combining what people love these days is the messaging functionality, but combining with the seamless essential video meetings like we're using now at the moment, but as well sharing content and documents that are very essential for making an organization workflows efficient. We're putting those workflows into circles. This is our differentiator to really allowing the key people that have basically identified identities to create the workspaces to streamline the processes. This is very important, avoiding any flows through emails that are compromising the security of the organization outside the walls. These days with decentralized teams is critical. So our processes are secured by end-to-end encrypted channels, which is combining the essential security of the IT policies and meeting the industry compliance. So to your question, where are we in 5 years? So imagine digital privacy will become more difficult to control within a metaverse. Without thinking too far away, anything between now and the digital workspace of the future, our vision is to keep the organization workflows safe by safeguarding data, privacy, identity of the users, and securing the digital assets. Can be a single document or your next NFT that you are basically purchasing on the blockchain. So real-time success these days is happening outside Switzerland, which is a real pity for a startup based in Geneva. The main reason is that we establish a commercial hub now in Dubai to be close to our Middle East and Africa customers. And the next hub that we are seeking for H2 this year is north of Europe to serve basically the north of European market, which is what we're looking for within the Tech4Trust program is really foster the collaboration within Switzerland by adopting secure solutions where basically the startup ecosystem can really bloom.
Thanks a lot, François.
Thank you.
Good. Let's move to the next startup, Sapporo. I have the pleasure to welcome Olivier. Olivier, I'd like to understand the positioning of Sapporo, and in particular, what is your competitive advantage compared to existing and similar technologies and products?
All right, thanks, Vincent, for the question. So hi everyone, my name is Olivier Ayas. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sapro. So Sapro is unique in the market today for its ability to reduce identity access risks on many data sources, such as Active Directory, Azure AD, AWS, GCP, Okta. And we recently announced a Swiss VC-led 2.5 million Swiss francs round. So we are very happy to represent with the startups here the growing scene of Swiss cyber startups. So to get to your question, one way to anticipate attacks and ransomware today is to anticipate how attackers will escalate privileges based on identity and basically take over your whole environment. So until today, lowering excessive user access risk or fix weak configurations could be done by two things. The first being using compliance tools based on security frameworks such as NC, which is a French one, or MITRE. Those tools are very qualitative though. They are not able to prioritize risk based on your context or against real attack scenarios. The second way of doing things is pen testing. Problem is it only works on a very small attack surface. You need to know where to look before you launch the pen testing, and can be used only in a specific group or application, but not on the whole attack surface. Plus, it only provides the teams with an image and a report, and then they have to deal with it. So Sapro is combining graph and AI technology to show this more like a video. So we continuously monitor the risk, configuration risks, and most importantly, give our customers contextual and prioritized recommendations to effectively reduce their attack surface, going from thousands of alerts today on the different SIEM to the most important actions that they need to reduce their risk. So just to give a number, in the span of 3 months with about 10 customers, we're able to reduce the average attack surface of 60% in Active Directory and Azure Active Directory. So that's something that was not done before in the market. Thanks for your question.
Thanks a lot, Olivier. Good. Now let's welcome Smart Cockpit and Sylvain. Sylvain, could you maybe explain what are your sales and distribution channels?
Yes, with pleasure. Thanks, Vincent. Good evening, everybody. So I'm Sylvain Félix, CEO and founder of Smart Cockpit. So Smart Cockpit is a solution that helps you manage your governance around cyber risks and helps you make better decisions in order to make sure you protect the right things. At a glance, you can evaluate security maturity, you can monitor the security process performance, ensure resilience and compliance, and last but not least, it's manage the communication between the stakeholders. So not only putting technical information in front of board people, but really showing them the right insight they need to understand their security posture. So we have been able to prove the market. We have references, customer references, some of which also contribute in the roadmap. So now we are in a place to accelerate the growth. So we did mainly direct sales till now, and now we are looking for and are working with some partners. So we're starting indirect sales. And we have two kinds of partners today. So we have some resellers, so standard people that will just resell our solutions. And we have what we call white labels that are selling their own solutions using ours. So that's really interesting for us because we can benefit from their networks, and this helps us grow our sales much faster. We also looking for international expansions. So either through the opening of local offices in Europe or somewhere else, and through partners. So maybe also interesting to mention that we are partnering with educations. So we do provide courses around cybersecurity, governance, and risk management, because I think this is one of the key people need to understand to make sure they take this into their account, not only taking this as a technical issue. So thanks for your attention, and don't hesitate to contact me should you need any further information.
Thank you, Sylvain. Okay, now another startup, Stack Sciences, and I have the pleasure to welcome Philippe. Philippe, could you maybe explain what is your solution and what is innovative about it?
Thank you, Vincent, for the question. So I'm Philippe, CEO of Stack Sciences. So What is our solution? Well, StackSciences brings an enterprise platform dedicated to the next generation cloud native, everything moves to the clouds, managed security services. Basically, we enable organizations to set up and operate a full managed security service for cloud native infrastructure, so the new generation of all the IT of the companies. We enable that in a matter of an hour. So our innovation, what it is really the enterprise vision of it. If you look at managed security services, which everybody is talking about and has been growing over 30 years, there's basically no SAP for it. There's nobody. What they've been doing for the last 20 years is gluing tools, buying security tools there, and gluing them together, putting some billing, trying to find some stuff to make it work. So our innovation is that we bring an enterprise integrated solution for managed security services. We bring all the modules, customer onboarding, cloud integration, asset discovery, security orchestration with all the security tools, other security tools that you need, and communication tools, workflow and DevSecOps, because that's what we're talking about with cloud native, and the SLA and up to the billing. So basically, we enable any organization that is willing to enter the managed security services or is in that market to expand to cloud native. And we also bring this innovation with a business model that is basically pay as you go, because just what we take is a fee, a percentage of the service fee, a small percentage of service fee. So basically, if an organization is using our tool to offer managed security services to its customers, if there's no revenue, there's no cost. So you can really start with us and grow.
Thanks a lot, Philippe.
Welcome.
And last but not least, Tune Insight. Juan, I have a question for you. What intellectual property exists for your business and your technology?
Thanks, Vincent, for the question. So at Tune Insight, we have developed a B2B software based on years of research at EPFL, on which we have 2 patent applications exclusively licensed to our startup Tune Insight. Because we live in the age of analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, where data is the new gold. Data powers the most important decisions from health to finance, but personal data is strictly regulated, for example, with GDPR, and companies are facing heavy fines if they don't comply. An organization's data is so valuable that it is now being targeted and stolen by cyber hackers on a daily basis. Thanks to recent technological progress, we are entering a new era of data encryption, moving from a world where data was encrypted only at rest and in transit to a world where data can also be protected while in use. And Tune Insight is at the forefront of this data encryption revolution. We enable secure analytics over encrypted data that is never transferred or disclosed. This has a direct impact on many sectors, and we have already deployed operational pilots in some of them. And as an example, I can cite that we empower data protection officers and enable fully compliant regulated data collaborations across jurisdictions, such as hospital collaborations on patient data to accelerate research and make better treatment decisions. We also power new kinds of applications, analytics, and collaborations on very confidential data that were not possible before. For example, enabling companies to better defend against cyber attacks by collaborating on their most critical data on incidents and indicators of compromise. And in general, our main innovation at Tune Insight is that we enable organizations to engage in secure data collaborations to extract the insights they need from the data they lack without compromising confidentiality or privacy. Thanks for your attention, and see you in the breakouts.
Thanks a lot, Juan, and thanks to the 7 startups which just presented. It's now time to vote again. Leni, can I let you launch the vote?
Yes, thank you very much, Vincent. So we will launch the vote right now, and you can choose the best startup from your side. So your favorite pitch on product, crypto, real-time, Sapporo, smart cockpits, StackScience, and Tune Insight. I will present to you the next thing will happen. It will be the panel 2, protecting financial services with Fabian Festower, Director, Digital Services, Cybersecurity and Privacy, at PwC Switzerland. He will be our moderator, and we will be our 3 high-level panelists with Olivier Bussolini, Chief Information Security Officer from Signum Bank, and Advisory Board Member of the Tech4Trust, Marcello Bellini, IT Security Manager at Basel Wertschöpfungen, and Maximilian Gross, co-founder and CEO of the Centric Tech4Trust Season 1 startup. So right now the vote is finished, I think. Okay. Well done to Tuning Site, and right now go to the panel 2.
Perfect. Thank you, Ling. I'm very much excited about having such great guys with me here today, with you, Marcello and Oliver, as experienced IT professionals from big international corporates, but as well having you, Maximilian, as an experienced Tech4Trust, also company, if I remember correctly, you have been here in the same seat as our young startups are today. So maybe let me quickly kick off with you, Marcello. Marcello, in the Tech4Trust Accelerator Program, we seek for companies developing innovative solutions to improve trust in technology. And now, what role does this startup play for Baloise then?
So thanks for having me here. Yeah, working together with startups is always helpful for us, be it for solving challenges we already have identified ourselves, or even if we see opportunities for enhancing our services or simplifying our processes. For example, the pictures already helped me having some ideas what could be enhanced on our side, or we could get in contact and see what we can learn from them. In the past, we already had contact with several startups here from Tech4Trust. For example, with Decentric, with Max, we were in contact already before, and also with Bug Bounty Switzerland with Sandro, who was in the other panel, and we're currently had a POC in the last year. We also have a strong startup community and internal programs to work with startups at Baloise, and not only for the core business, so for insurance and supporting services there, but also for supporting services and in other areas, be it cybersecurity, for example, or in other areas as well.
Very good to hear that you're already using that group here to increase your let's say vendor portfolio as well. So maybe on that point, I'll go over to you, Oliver. So Signum on that point claims to be the world's first digital asset bank. So following that statement, what do you leverage, or how do you leverage the innovation you see here today or from other startups to make sure that your digital asset bank stays secure then?
Yes, thanks, Fabian. Yes, we are really looking. I mean, we've been through only a couple of years of growth, so we are in our mentality really between a startup, a fintech, and I would say an SME in the banking sector. So we really have a close connection to the startup world. So when we are continuing to support the growth of the bank by looking at the usual security services, we always have the challenge to find a balance between implementing those old paradigms that we need to have as security foundations, but to have them in a new environment. So that's one way where we really look at innovative startups that are enabling to transform the old into the new. And there was another, I mean, there was one at least company who was highlighting that just previously. So that's one of our partner. And the other way that we want to make sure that we are supporting, not supporting, we are being supported by startup is really to be open to people who have new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing security problems, people who understand those new challenges. We are a full cloud-based bank, only dealing with digital assets, so everything around the blockchain. So you can imagine that all those areas are really cutting edge for banking, and for the blockchain is really new for everybody at an industrial level, I mean. So making sure that we can understand the bright ideas that are here and there, and including them in the success of Signum is really what our founders are all about, and what we are trying to do really on a daily basis.
Must sound like music in your ear, Maximilian. So looking virtually at you, does this resonate with your experience when working with clients? Or maybe let's take a step back. So what kind of clients need in the financial service sector industry is your service addressing? And maybe you can share a bit of the insight of the centric, and maybe also together with Signum then. I guess Maximilian is busy enhancing his own application.
Hello?
Yes, there we are.
Now, finally, I can speak. I'm unmuted. Thank you very much, Fabian. Yeah, it's great to see some familiar faces here on this panel. And yeah, I remember like just 2 years ago, it was the first like batch of Tech4Trust, and we were just a handful of people. And I mean, we serve, let's say, traditional enterprises and are also active in the public sector. And I know how frustrating it is to reach out to clients, and especially at the beginning, you know, it's very hard to build up credibility. But at the same time, you know, it's a bit like you have to cross the chasm and find innovative sponsors within an organization, and also work on your product to really make it understandable, because you can have state-of-the-art technology, but if people don't get it within a few seconds, what value you're creating for the enterprise, even the best intentions of your sponsors won't be enough in order to get you into the organization. But I think also enterprises can gain a lot by working together with startups, because, you know, they are super fast usually. I mean, it's a speedboat. Usually you get a state-of-the-art technology and market trends for a rather reasonable price. And I mean, I can speak to all other startup founders I know. People working in startups are super committed. So, you know, if they sign a deal, they won't sleep at night and work over the weekend to make things happen for the client.
I saw you, all of you were like heavily confirming the statement. So maybe what is your opinion as a CISO in terms of what is key to involve young startups in the security processes, or like put it in other words, like how can they get your attention then?
Yeah, I was noting when Maximilian was talking about the necessity to explain, because as I said previously, we are really looking at innovation. We are looking at people who are thinking about topics in a different way. And even if we as CISO or in the security team, we are convinced, we have other stakeholders in the bank to convince also, not only in IT, but also in the risk, in the legal aspect. So all those other stakeholders are key for a positive decision. So making sure that the concept you are bringing to the table is understood, the pros and cons are also understood. This is critical. And when I'm thinking also, and when we are in the bank thinking about startups, because we are not only using startups for security, we are using startups across the board. We really also want to understand the risks that are related to working with a startup, and making sure that we are properly managing that in partnership with the startup. I'm thinking about topics where, for example, the capabilities are not already very mature. Sometimes you have functionalities that are limited. You have the service that is not properly packaged. You know, the UI is not great. You don't have the right level of doc, and all those elements are very important for our IT, for example, to feel comfortable, or our prod. Sometimes you have bugs, or when you roll out the nice demo in your own cloud environment. Well, there was a setup that was different and then it's crashing. So making sure that all those things that are problems and perception problems are being ironed out, and that the return on investment seems to be obvious for the different stakeholders, and they feel that we have taken a limited risk and that the return will be more interesting than those challenges that we can have. So innovation, but also managing the risk for our bank to also onboard innovation in the reality of what is a startup. So it's not a finished product.
Yeah, I do very much like this point, Olivier. Thanks a lot. Maybe Marcello, just directly over to you. What is then, like, for you the key success factor to include startup or to become a partner of Baloise working together with you then?
Yeah, first of all, I fully agree to what Olivier said before. To be a partner for Baloise, it's could be quite easy. They need a business case which fits for more or less to our challenges we have, obviously, but also be flexible to adapt to certain constraints and needs we have. As Olivier said, for example, we have some regulatory requirements and other things, and they need to understand what our key business needs are, because I think they could probably adapt easier than we can adapt our internal processes. So, and also as Sandro said in the last panel, reach out to the companies, don't be shy. But they need to know we are a regulated company and we have internal and external stakeholder requirements, which also need to be fulfilled. So if it's a solution which could be helpful for us or our customers, it's also sometimes needed that we have localization and it fits for the Swiss market. Not all solutions or all products which could work internally if they're only English or not so well documented, that could work internally just fine. But if we reach out and provide something additional services for our customers, then it needs really to fit to the market. And we have small and medium enterprise customers, and they are really in the Swiss market. We have the special case that we have different languages, and we all need support for all these languages, and that this fits to the solution the startup provides.
So Maximilian, on just on that what Marcello said, probably not just the sleepless nights that you mentioned before was key to success. So let us focus more on what you have been in the same situation as your colleagues from the pitching sessions here today as well. So what was your key success factor that you became with Decentric successful then?
Yeah, I think some of the aspects Marcello already mentioned, that of course when we work with banks and also insurances and also in the pharma industry, and sometimes these entities are regulated and you cannot just implement the product. So we had to undergo certain audits, and I think this was a very good investment. Of course, at the beginning, it costs money, it costs time, but it also gives you a certain level of defense towards your competition. And once you did it, it's highly scalable because you can reuse it for other clients. So I think this was a very good investment. Then maybe also what Olivier said about that, you have to live up to your promises. I mean, a nice demo is crucial, right? I think it's an extremely important investment to have a good demonstration, because otherwise you can't build up the excitement. But if you can't live up to what you promise, you burn your reputation. And building this program is called Tech4Trust, right? If you basically burn the trust, even the best technology won't rebuild it over a long period of time. So this very often used phrase, move fast and break things, might apply for many startups, but I think in our community around data security, data privacy, data confidentiality, we should move fast, yes, of course, because at the end also we want to protect the data of the people, but we should definitely not break things.
Couldn't agree more to what you just said. Maybe let us change a bit the angle on how we look at startups. So basically also introducing a startup into a big organization means also to open up or increasing also the third-party risk. So on that point, Marcello, you, especially from an insurance point of view, you must have been shocked about the statements that we've seen in the beginning. So, and in combination with the increasingly frequency of more ransomware attacks and also cyber attacks that are becoming more profitable for them, probably for you as an insurance, it gets less profitable at the end. And eventually you can how can you keep pace with putting the underwriting bar for the cyber insurances higher and higher in this fast-paced environment? So how does this play come together?
Interesting question. First of all, I can say I was involved in our cyber insurance product development. They reached out for me when they started the product development, and there I was shocked when they said they want to insure cyber risks. I said, how can you do that? But finally, we found the product, and I think that really fits also the market. And we also have regular exchange here with our product and claims management to see what happens in the market. We also see an increase in claims. So not only the companies which are not insured are affected, but also the insured companies. So no 100% security, even with cyber insurance. And we also even had cases where customers had become victim multiple times. But as a cyber insurance, for cyber insurance, this is quite a new area for the whole industry, because especially here in the European and in the Swiss markets, we are missing statistical data on how big is the risk, what could happen, and so on. And it's evolving faster than other areas in the insurance markets, like car insurance or fires. That is old and known risks, but here with cyber we have new challenges we have to face. But I can also say, as an insurance company, we are with the cyber insurance, we're a little bit conservative with our underwriting rules. So we do not insure every company. So if Novartis or a big pharma company is coming for cyber risks, I don't think we will find a proper policy for them currently.
Maybe looking again at Olivier, would you have an explanation why the low level of why there's a low level of understanding for third-party risk? I mean, we have seen that in our study from the top executives, only 35% they have little or no understanding of the introduction of risk when dealing with a third party, such as a startup, for example.
Yeah, so I'm going to be speaking from a bank perspective. That's also not only from today, but my past. So I might have a little, a specific view on that, because those regulated industries, we have had vendor management processes for quite a long time. So I think that there's a bit more understanding in the banking sector. But if I look at globally what I've been seeing here and there, I would say that first I've been surprised by sometimes a misunderstanding or a problem of culture of ownership of risks. I have seen people who were really abusing the vocabulary of the ISO. If you remember, some times ago, maybe a couple of years ago, when we were talking about risk remediation, apart from acceptance, reduction, we had risk transfer. Like if you had the opportunity to just wash your hands from the risk and send that to Marcello to take care of it. And now the vocabulary has changed. You don't see any more risk transfer. You see risk sharing. So now people are realizing that it's not about I wash my head of my risk. I am partnering with someone who's going to help me manage this risk, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be my risk, my being the company's risk. I think this has helped a lot people to realize that ownership is not something you delegate. Okay, you delegate execution, you don't delegate accountability. So for me, this is one big part. The second part then is when you look at some of our, the topic that we are dealing with, even just cloud for some people or even more blockchain, those are very complex topics. Being able to understand the risks associated with those third parties that are providing us blockchain services, and we are using quite a lot of them, it's pretty complex. You want to understand how they do their work, how it's working, how it can break, so that we feel comfortable that we have, we are not blinded by a kind of black box, but we have enough understanding so that we can then go in the details, assess those risks, and feel comfortable sharing those risks or at least taking those risks. So for me, it's a mixture between accountability, really understanding what managing risk is about, and having enough information to feel comfortable that you're taking a risk that you are happy to take because it's aligned with your risk appetite.
Very happy to see that, Olivier. I think in order to also to stick our own rules, I do have a lot of more questions for you, but I would rather have them then in the breakout sessions because there's a third group waiting and eager to pitch their services. So Marcella, I'm sure you will explain us in the breakout rooms how and which services you can integrate startups in your products and in your services at Baloise. And also Maximilian, share a bit more insight on how you got successful using this group here, using that platform to be pushing your startup to the next level and working maybe soon with Marcella and Olivier side by side and being probably the next panelist then. With that, thank you very much for these very interesting thoughts and insights. And,
thank you very much.
Give it over to Lenning then.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Fabian, Marcello, Olivier, and Maximilian. So right now, go to the round three of pitches with 5 startups on stage. The rule of the game is 1 question, 2-minute max, and I'm very pleased to welcome the partner at cybersecurity and privacy at PwC, Yann Bourboin, and also advisory board member of the Tech4Trust. So Yann, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lenning. So yes, my timer is ready. So let's start with Matti from Xifera. I don't know if we have Matti, if we can pin him that we can see.
Yes, I should be here.
Hi, Matti.
Hello.
Welcome. So
yeah.
My question would be, what organization compete with your value proposition? And what do you think your will win?
Yeah, thank you for the question and good evening from Finland to all the participants. So yeah, good question. We at Xifera, we do have a limited number of direct competitors, namely companies which, broadly speaking, share our vision of security in hardware. And with hardware, I do mean digital logic at the gate level, technically speaking, not software running on processors. And when it comes to our direct competitors, we obviously compete on our technical merits, service level, occasionally on pricing, product roadmap, our cryptographic expertise, and the scalability of our solutions. But however, in my opinion, our biggest competitor is the software-centric and even cloud-based mindset of current security designs. And what this means in concrete terms is that software-based security designs implicitly trust a deep stack of underlying technologies. Examples like software libraries and operating systems and process architectures, security of the cloud, and cloud is really a hard drive in somebody else's possession, and so on. So even if you write the best security software in the world, it can be broken if the underlying technologies, which are outside of your control, have weaknesses and vulnerabilities or even intentional backdoors. So this is an educational challenge for us. But I do believe that Zyfer's focus on hardware-based security is the right approach. And implementing security and cryptography directly in silicon gives better performance, higher security level, and very importantly, in my opinion, is the right and critical step towards digital sovereignty, which is a very actual topic for us Europeans. With that, I thank you for the question, and also want to say it's been a pleasure and an honor to be part of the Tech4Trust program.
Thank you very much, Matti. A nice picture from Helsinki, if I'm not wrong.
That's Helsinki, yes, thank you.
And now Paul from Zen+a. Yes. Hi, Paul. So what is your competitive advantage relative to existing or identical technology or product? What makes you different?
Thank you very much, Jan, for your question. So manipulated online information has disrupted financial markets. So we provide easy-to-use SaaS and API to enable organizations to perceive the true nature of online information and also help regain digital trust. So the first competitive advantage you were asking. So we explore the emerging field of social media deep analytics. So what we do, we convert social media data into meaningful signals. And our prime focus is real-time quantification of the impact of coordinated financial and crypto investors' activities on social media. The second competitive advantage, we are much more than social listeners, which our closest competitors in Europe are. We process multilingual in addition to images, audios, and videos, and provide early warning signals, which allows organizations to react proactively and make timely decisions. Third point, the ongoing communications of machine learning, especially NLP and scrapping, are becoming more and more available. Neural networks are solving right now CAPTCHAs. So our ability to quickly come up with alternative data sets relevant for client AI models and standards represents our key competitive advantage. Then we respond to the increasing demand from across the financial sector for trustful and reliable alternative data, typically information which are derived from non-traditional sources. So we provide investors a full picture of trustful and reliable investment opportunities. But last but not least, we are also more than a simple alternative data provider. Our data sets are pre-processed in line with their model input standards while being quite nuanced in real time and huge. So what we do, we strive also to partner with our competitors, complement their value proposition in order to create synergies for the objective to increase trust in information space ecosystem. So try our online app, which I'll share on the chat later. You'll love it and you'll adopt it. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Paul. So welcome, Lucas, fully verified. Perfect. Hi, Lucas. Are you not on mute, maybe? You're ready? Lucas, you're mute.
Yes, I think it's okay now. I just couldn't unmute myself.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my question would be, how would you describe your potential market and the addressable market size for your solution?
Sure. Thank you for the question. My name is Lucas. I'm the founder of Fully Verified, and we are an identity verification service. So basically what we do is we check if you are who you say you are online. We solve the problem of many identity verification services being too easy to cheat and not complying with higher level regulations. We created our company because when we looked at the market, we realized that most of the solutions available were simply insufficient. So we wanted to create something that delivers higher security and higher compliance, which in turn prevents fraud from happening. And that's why we chose a video to be the main channel for our verifications. So we don't rely just on taking simple pictures. And it's not often something that other solutions can provide. Most of them rely on taking simple pictures of documents and a selfie, whereas with us, the whole procedure is recorded on video from start to finish, so we can see the entire process and not just parts of it like the pictures. It also provides us with a lot more data that we can analyze, and on top of that, we can cater to almost any country's regulations and customize the process to any needs. In terms of the markets, the global identity verification market was valued at around $8.6 billion in 2021, and it's expected to grow to $18.6 billion by 2026. The two main growth factors for this market are increasing digitalization and increase in fraudulent activities and identity theft. In terms of our company, the segments that we work with mostly are companies such as financial institutions, cryptocurrency exchanges, fintechs, banks, marketplaces, and many others. Thank you. My name is Lucas. The company is called Fully Verified, and we'll be happy to help with any KYC questions and needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Now, Pasquale, PhotoCert.
Hi.
Hi, Pasquale. So what problem and customer pain points are you trying to solve with regard to digital trust?
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm the founder and CEO at PhotoCert, a company that makes visual media useful and trustworthy.
Actually, I'm the founder at PhotoCert, and the previous one was an AI that was saying what I wanted it to say. I was using a virtual camera on my laptop camera, and with just another simple application, the result is that you answered him. Deep fake pictures, fake videos are everywhere, and it's been more than 20 years that DARPA, the defense agency in the US, has been financing projects to understand if a video or a picture has been tampered with. And the results are still not promising. Adobe, who created Photoshop, is leading now a content authenticity initiative, and big names like Intel, Microsoft are following suit, but they just started. There are various industries that are using pictures and videos to automate processes. For example, insurance companies use pictures and videos in claims and onboarding processes. But again, how can you be sure that a picture you receive is a genuine one? And that's where our company PhotoCert comes to help, enabling a process automation through AI while establishing the authenticity of media. So feel free to get in touch, and I hope to see you in the real world.
Thank you very much for this demo. Very interesting. Last one, code scoring with Alexei.
Hi.
Hi, Alexei.
Hi.
What is my question would be for you? What is your marketing strategy, and how do you plan to reach your target market for the next 6 months?
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for the question. And we are building code scoring, software composition analysis software that deals with risks of using open source software, such as vulnerabilities and license compliance. Our target customers are innovative banks and other financial services, healthcare organizations, and growing IT startups. Our marketing strategy is based on 2 pillars. In one hand, interact with our customers directly and educate them. So for the first part, we are planning to build and gradually expand our distribution partners network. Right now, we are already signed with one of the biggest local software distributor in Russia. In the second part will be a combination of content marketing and educational webinars. We are already doing this work in Russia. We have spoken at dozens of conferences. We write articles, and we have even realized our course on software licensing. For the next 6 months, We are aiming to find at least 2 new partners in Europe and CIS. Besides that, we plan to realize our second course and organize systematic content creation to extend our public knowledge base. Thank you for your question and your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexei. So now we are done with the last round. So I guess that we will finish with the vote and then going in a breakout session for discussion and a virtual apéro.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for this great round with a very nice, excellent demonstration. So you can vote for your favorite pitch of the startup, Xiferas and Pulsar, fully verified, PhotoCert and code scoring. And just go, it's time to networking now. So just some few rules about our session. So we will have 2 rooms tonight. The first room will be dedicated to the public sector, will all our panelists, so Urs Kuderli, Giorgio Tresoldi, and Sandro Navguer. And the second room, the room 2, will be dedicated to financial services with Fabian Festruer, Olivier Busolini, Marcello Bellini, and Maximilian Gross. So I think this is the end of the vote. Yes. So it's, yes, well done, then Pulsar. So thank you very much to all our partners here. Thank you so much to PwC team for this event, and stay with us and choose your room, and see you next week in Geneva. Thank you also to all startups. It's really a difficult exercise to do that. So continue the discussion in the room.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you very much for the event, and also to all the participants and the startupper for the exercise. So looking forward to see you in the breakout room. Bye-bye.
See you in the breakout room.
See you.